All right, welcome to HerdOne. We want to thank you for your interest in it. Today we're going to be walking through the field management section. I'm going to show you some of the different things you can do with that one. I clicked on pastures here. It brings up all the pastures that I've currently put in. You can see we've got a chicken coop put in, a hay field, and a north field. If you wanted a new pasture here, you could put it in down here with some information about it and it would show up here in this grid. We're going to drill down on the north field here. Once you get in here, you can see a couple of the actions you can take inside this pasture. One is moving livestock into this pasture, and one way you can do that is through the individual animals radio button here. It allows you to select multiple animals and move them in, or you can click the herd radio button here and it brings up a herd drop down. I'm going to move. We've got a couple herds in here. This one is all of our fall calvers, and so we're going to move these 4 animals into this herd, this pasture. And you can see this. We've got 6 animals inside this pasture now. Now, something we can do. All of these are female cows. Something we can do is turn in a sire on them as well. So we're going to grab our bull. We're going to say we're turning them in. Since they're fall calvers. We'll say it's the end of November here. Add the sire. And what it does is for each of the cows inside that pasture, it creates a breeding window record. And it adds the earliest due date that they would possibly have a calf based on the gestation period of the average cow. Something else you can do, let's say we leave that bull in there for 3 months. I'm going to click the pull sires button here. I'm going to pull all the cattle type sire out of there, and we're going to have given them, let's say, roughly 3 months here. What that does is adds the latest it's likely for them to have a calf. So that sets your breeding window on each of the cows. That bull is now no longer in the pasture. We can drill down on one of these cows now, and it will show you over here in the breeding info section whenever it had a sire turn in, the delivery window, and it most recently had a calf last fall. So there's some ways that you can use the field management portion, specifically in the pastures, to manage your breeding windows and things like that. Also inside here are, let's say you have a hay field, you can track hay production through the crop production. If you had if you were cutting some hay, round bales, you could set the type of crop, the harvest date, put in the quantity of bales, and then you would hit add harvest here. And that would then show up in your crop production. The pasture management events here, so these are things like fertilizer, if you spread litter, weed killer, things like that, weed control. That's where you're going to track things like that. You can track the date that you applied it. It'll track the pounds per acre and the material applied. Now I'm going to go back to the crop section here. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things you can do with this section. Let's say you cut hay, and we've got some 4x5 round bales here. You can see last year we had 2 cuttings, and these are the number of bales that we got out of our hay field. It ties in the pasture that you got it from. So in order to put in a crop harvest, again, you would go back to the pastures, the specific pasture that you were cutting, and you would enter the crop harvest there. Once you drill down on the specific crop, which is where we are now, you can see the quantity on hand. You can obviously see the harvest. You can see the sales, any sales that you've made on that, and again, that ties back to the finance piece. And you can see any purchases. And again, this ties back to the finance piece as well. Let's go ahead and we'll create a sale here. So I went to Bill Hammerstein. Say he needs 20 bales. And we're going to do, we'll give them to him for $20 a piece. So we're going to sell those. That sale now shows up here. You can then come over to the reports page, go to the financial piece, check out the profit and loss, and that sale will now show up this week. You can see we sold some eggs here. We sold the $400 worth of bales, and it breaks it out. This was some square bales that I put in, that I purchased, and these show up as feed, and these will show up in the Schedule F for the expenses, which is helpful at the end of the year whenever you're doing your taxes. You're trying to compile all that information together, whether you do it yourself or whether you give it to your accountant. It's a super handy feature to have, and it handles all that for you if you've entered it properly throughout the year. So that's pretty much the field management piece here. I hope that was helpful, and we look forward to continuing to have you guys use the application. Thank you.